Before we begin this video, make sure you like, subscribe and press the bell icon so you never miss content that challenges your mind and reshapes the way you see the world. Today's discussion takes us into a journey of moral choices, choices that test what justice truly means. Imagine standing at the center of a decision you never wanted to face. A moment where your next move decides who lives and who doesn't. A moment where logic collides with your conscience. This video explores how ordinary people react when placed in extreme situations, and what those reactions reveal about our deepest moral beliefs. Let's dive into a story that forces us to confront the uncomfortable. Picture yourself inside a speeding trolley racing uncontrollably down a track. The brakes are gone, the metal roars beneath you, and panic takes over. Ahead of you, 5 workers stand unaware of the danger. No amount of shouting will save them. You pull the brake, nothing. You feel helpless, trapped in a nightmare that's unfolding too fast. Then you notice a side track. Only 1 worker stands there. You can turn the wheel and save 5 lives, but doing so will kill that one person. What would you do? The question seems simple, but the weight behind it is. Most people say they would turn the trolley to the side track. They argue it's better for 1 life to be lost than 5. Their answer feels practical, logical, even humane. But is morality really just mathematics? Can human life be reduced to numbers? Behind this simple choice hides a powerful clash between logic and emotion. And once we start questioning it, the ground beneath our beliefs begins to shake. To understand why people choose the way they do, we must listen to their reasons. Some say saving more lives is always the right thing. Others feel responsible only because they are already involved in the situation. A few point to real-life tragedies, like plane crashes, where sacrificing some saved many. These individuals believe moral choices must focus on outcomes. They value the greater good above individual cost, but not everyone agrees. Now imagine shifting the scenario. This time you're not the driver, you're standing on a bridge above the tracks. 5 people are still in danger, the trolley is still out of control, and time is still running out. But now there's a twist. Beside you stands a large man leaning over the rail. If you push him onto the track, his weight will stop the trolley. He will die, but the 5 workers will survive. Would you push him? Most people refuse. They suddenly hesitate. The calculation, 1 life versus 5, hasn't changed, but the feeling has. Directly pushing a person to their death feels more like murder. People describe it as crossing a moral line. They argue that the man on the bridge isn't part of the situation. He didn't choose to be involved, and to shove him deliberately feels far more personal than steering a trolley. What changed? The number of lives is the same, so why is the decision harder? The difference, many say, lies in the action itself. Turning a wheel feels indirect. Pushing someone with your own hands feels intentional. Even though both actions knowingly sacrifice 1 person, our minds judge them differently. This emotional reaction reveals something important about human morality. It suggests we care not only about outcomes, but about the kind of action we take. The physical act of harming someone carries a psychological weight numbers alone cannot capture. Still, others challenge this defense. They argue that choice is choice, no matter how it's performed. Whether you turn a wheel or push someone, you are deciding who lives and who dies. You can't escape responsibility simply by choosing a method that feels cleaner. Their point exposes a deeper conflict between instinct and reason, and this conflict sits at the heart of every moral debate humanity has ever had. Let's shift the scenario again. This time you're a doctor in an emergency room. 5 injured patients need help, all with moderate injuries. 1 patient is critically hurt and will require your full attention for hours. If you save the severely injured one, the 5 moderately hurt patients will die from lack of care. If you treat the 5, the critical patient won't survive. Most people choose to save the 5. They repeat the same reasoning: more lives matter more. But what happens when the doctor's story changes slightly? Imagine you're a transplant surgeon with 5 patients needing different organs. Each will die soon without a donor. Nearby lies a healthy person who came in for a routine checkup. If you take his organs, heart, lung, liver, kidney, pancreas, you can save all 5, but the healthy person will die. Almost no one supports this option. Even though numbers say 1 versus 5, morality pushes back. Why does morality shift so dramatically? Nothing changed in the math. 5 lives still outweigh 1. But the idea of killing an innocent person for parts shocks us. It feels cold, monstrous, inhuman. People believe in a boundary that must not be crossed. You cannot sacrifice a person's body without consent. The moment we violate that boundary, we risk turning people into tools. And the fear of that dehumanization runs deep. These examples reveal 2 major ways we think about morality. The first is consequentialism, judging actions by outcomes. This approach says the right thing is whatever produces the most happiness or reduces suffering the most. It's the logic used in calculating lives saved. It's clean, mathematical, and often convincing. But the second approach disagrees. The second type of moral reasoning is categorical. It says some actions are simply wrong, no matter the outcome. Under this view, killing an innocent person is always wrong, even if it saves others. Pushing a man to his death, harvesting organs, or using someone as a tool violates their dignity. This moral view sees human beings as ends in themselves, not numbers in an equation. The conflict between these two views shapes every ethical debate. Understand them better, we turn to famous philosophers. Jeremy Bentham, an English thinker, championed consequentialism. He believed humans are motivated by pleasure and pain, so the goal of morality should be to maximize happiness for the greatest number. Meanwhile, the German philosopher Immanuel Kant defended categorical morality. He insisted that people must never be treated merely as means to an end. Their freedom, dignity, and rights must be respected, no matter the consequences. These ideas may sound theoretical, but they shape our everyday lives. They influence laws, justice systems, human rights policies, and public debates. Understanding them helps us uncover the logic behind our instincts. And as we dig deeper, we realize that moral questions don't have easy solutions. They force us to examine ourselves, our fears, our values, and our humanity. To see how these theories operate in real life, consider a famous court case, the Queen versus Dudley and Stevens. This true story from the 1800s involved shipwrecked sailors stranded at sea. After days without food, they faced starvation. With no rescue in sight, two sailors decided to kill and eat the weakest member, a young cabin boy, to survive. They later admitted their actions in court. The question became, were they justified? From a consequentialist view, their reasoning made sense. Killing one saved several. Survival was possible only through sacrifice. But from a categorical view, killing an innocent boy was murder, no matter the circumstances. The court had to decide which moral framework to adopt, and society still debates the case today. These tense situations reveal the complexity of ethical decision-making. When we examine cases like these, we notice a pattern. Our instincts pull us in one direction while our logic pulls us in another. Sometimes we follow numbers and outcomes. Other times we cling to moral rules and principles. These inner battles shape our character more than any philosophy book ever could. Philosophy simply gives us words for struggles we already feel. This journey into moral reasoning is not just academic. It forces us to confront uncomfortable truths. It challenges what we thought we knew. It exposes contradictions within our values. And once seen, these contradictions cannot be unseen. We begin questioning choices we once made easily. We start noticing the hidden moral weight in everyday decisions. And this questioning comes with risks. Philosophy can unsettle us. It can pull us away from easy answers and push us into uncertainty. Historically, people who studied philosophy often felt torn between social expectations and deeper moral reflection. Some even feared it might make them worse citizens, too critical, too doubtful, too analytical. But this discomfort is part of the journey. Socrates, the father of philosophy, faced similar criticism. In Plato's Dialogues, a character named Callicles warns Socrates that too much philosophy is dangerous. He says it weakens a person, takes them away from practical life, and leaves them unfit for society. In modern terms, he basically told Socrates to stop thinking so much and get a real job. But Socrates refused, believing that examining life was essential to living it fully. This tension gives rise to another temptation, skepticism. Skepticism whispers, nothing can be solved, everyone has their own opinion. Why bother? It's an escape from difficult thinking. But skepticism isn't a solution, it's a pause button. As Kant said, skepticism may be a resting place, but it cannot be a home. We live our lives making moral decisions whether we reflect on them or not. So reflection becomes unavoidable. Throughout this video, we explored stories that seem simple on the surface but reveal deep moral struggles underneath. Trolley dilemmas, doctors' choices, shipwrecked sailors, they all expose the same truth. Morality is complicated. Justice is not just about rules or outcomes. It's about who we choose to be when the choices around us feel impossible. And through that, philosophy becomes a mirror we hold up to ourselves. If these stories feel unsettling, that's the point. Philosophy pushes us out of familiar comfort zones. It shakes the foundations of what we thought we understood. But with that discomfort comes growth. By questioning ourselves, we strengthen our thinking. We sharpen our moral sense. We discover that the hardest questions often don't have final answers, but exploring them makes us wiser. So as we close, remember this: the search for justice begins not out there, but inside us. It starts with the restless feeling that something matters, even when we cannot fully explain why. Philosophy gives shape to that restlessness, and by following it, we learn who we are and what we stand for. If you want more deep, thought-provoking content like this, make sure to like, subscribe, and share this video. Your support keeps this journey alive. Thank you for watching.